Welcome to my channel. My name is Jody and this is an update video. Please ignore the mess behind me. I need to clean it, straighten it up a little. But it's been a busy month. So before we get into my quilting updates, this was my birthday month. September 3rd was my birthday. So we all know what my parents did to bring in the new year that year. And for my birthday, I wanted to go to Barnes & Noble. I went there. They didn't have any book I had on my list. I had one book on my list. I had like 7 or 8 books. There's only one. So on the way home, I went through a town and there's a quilt shop kind of out in the country, and I've never been to it. So I stopped there, and what I bought was this Pam Buddha fabric. It's from Marcus Fabrics. It's called Old Blue Calicos. And so I bought a 1/4 yard with the fabric. That's how I buy my fabric. Being a scrap quilter, I have no use for yardage. And I also bought this Marcus fabric. It's by Paula Barnes. It is midnight lace. It's like a tealy green, really pretty. I love Paula Barnes and Pam Buddha and Kim Deal. I love reproduction fabrics. And then I also bought a yard of this grunge. I don't know if you can see it real well, but it's got kind of a gray and black. Bought that for my portrait quilts. And so I have an update for them too. So September 2025 can move along. It's been an expensive month. We bought a greenhouse. We've worked on it in the evenings when it's not so hot out. And I think we'll finish today. I think we just need to put the gutter on. It's been an adventure. And then the last week, my husband went in the garage and there was a huge pool of water. Above the garage is my laundry utility room. And when he went up there, our 18-year-old hot water tank decided to give up the ghost. So we had to buy a new hot water tank. And when we get it home, in order to get the old one out, we had to take the trim off. It's in like a closet. And I think they built the closet around this hot water tank because it wouldn't fit through the door. So we had to take the trim, the door jamb off to get it out and get the new one in. So we had to go back to the hardware store to buy one of those trim nail guns. So yeah, that was an expense. So, and then when I started working on my portrait quilts, my printer decided it didn't want to work anymore. So it was making like a loud noise. So we bought a new printer. It came. It doesn't work. So I'm kind of limping with my old loud printer right now that decides it doesn't want to print everything that I want it to. So now let's get into the quilting updates, what you're here to see anyway. The first thing I worked on this month was my Circa 1880. It's 2.5 inch, 2-inch finished, 9 patches. I did 10 more, and I now have a total of, where's my paper? 545. And I think I need 564. So I need like 19 more, so I'm real close. So now I need to figure out how I'm going to set them. The way they have it in the book, or in the pattern, they're on knot or on point. And so if I do it like them, it'll be sort of like this with these little setting triangles. And it's going to take probably an entire bolt of whatever fabric I choose to do if I do it like this. And I don't know if I want to do it like that or set them on point, but put a square in between them, an offset square, like stagger them. And I can even do them on point with that square, or I can do them horizontally, like that, with a square in between them. I'm not sure, but I got some time to think about it. I knew this wasn't going to be a quick project. And then I worked on my Jen Kingwell, long time gone, long time to finish quilt. It seems like every time I open this book, I find pages of blocks that I've missed. So I think I have them all, except for these little like checkerboards that are splattered throughout. Like there's some here, there's some up here. So this is really close. So what I did this month was I finished all of my pineapple blocks that I found out foundation paper pieced onto just printer paper. So I did all these. You probably don't need to see every single one of them. Those are all done. Then there was a page that had my least favorite block in all blocks in the quilting world. It's this triangle and a square. There's just something about this block I just don't like. But they're done. I think they call it Spiky Peak or Peaks and Spike. I don't know. I don't like it, but it's done. And then, oh, here's another strip I had to make that goes somewhere else in the quilt. And then in my last video, you saw I was making flying geese. I had to make this strip. I had to make this block. And then I had to make this block. I even tried to like fussy cut some of them. That's done. So I'm thinking all I have left to do on that one is the checkerboard. So let me move the camera and I'll show you. I'm working on a laundry basket quilt, mystery quilt along, and it's up on the design wall. So this is the third time I've done this video. I had to sit down. So let me switch the camera around and I'll show you my progress on it, and I'll give you the update on my portrait quilts. So hold please. Okay, I'm back. So behind me on the design wall, this is my version of Adidas Sitar's The Laundry Basket Quilt 2025 Mystery Quilt Along. So each week on her blog, it's a free pattern. She gives you blocks to make each week, and she's doing hers kind of in a rainbow, and she gives suggestions on if you use like blue and white or other fabric lines of hers. And yeah, I'm doing mine in blue, green, and kind of a mustard yellow. And on her blog, she also shows a layout of where each of these blocks go. Each block is 6.5 inch unfinished, 6 inch finished. It's 15 block by 15 blocks, so it's going to be a pretty big quilt, probably like 90 by 90. So I chose blue, green, and mustard because of this one single fabric here. It's got the blue, green, and the mustard. And this is all I have left of it. So I'm pulling these colors from my quilt. So like the first week, we had to do these square and a square. And I made all of these have the same fabric, the green. But then the other ones that are going to be splattered throughout the quilt, they all have this like a blue background, but they're kind of in like the four corners. And then we had to do this, I think week 2, these hourglass block. So all of them have the same fabric, background and the same fabric. And then my flying geese they all have different backgrounds, but all my light flying geese all have the same background. The dark flying geese have the darker background, and the medium have a different background. And then the week after that, we had to make these 9 patches. I love stripes. And so I put yellow out here. And then I thought it was looking kind of blue, too much blue. So this week's pattern, we are making these little V blocks out of half square triangles. And so I'm not sewing these together yet because I'm not sure, because we had to use 3 different colors, kind of like 2 mediums and a dark. The dark we're putting in the 4 corners, and it's going to make kind of a zigzag ribbon around the center. So I still have to make 5 more of these on each side and 2 more of these corner blocks. And the reason it's taken a little bit longer than it should is these all have the same background, and I'm not sure the name of it, but it's directional. And it looks like grapes are hanging. So when I'm making my block, all my grapes, no matter where they are in this quilt, are all hanging down. So I have a top and a bottom of my quilt in the quilt direction. So that's taken a little bit longer to put that together, but that's my own OCD doing that. So that is this quilt. I'm hoping to finish these today. And then, but like I said, I'm not going to sew these together yet because I'm not sure what order they go in. I'm just guessing the order that they're supposed to be in. So that's that. So then a few videos ago, I was going through my portrait quilts. And this is a series that I made that, I've got like the Wolfman, I've got Frankenstein, and I call it my Saturday Matinee series. Well, as I was going through them, I noticed when I got to King Kong, I didn't have him fused down to his background because I use light Steam 2 to fuse it to the background. And so he's all fused down. And the idea behind this one, he was hard to do because the old original King Kong was a real grainy film. So to get a good shot of him was hard. And so in this picture or this film frame, there's the Chrysler Building, there's all of New York, and there's a river, and I thought it was the Brooklyn Bridge, but I think it's the Queensboro Bridge. And after making the Chrysler Building, I decided I'm not making the whole city of New York. So I stopped at the Chrysler Building. So I'll pull this down so you can see a little bit closer of what I do. I just kind of fuse pieces of fabric together to make this picture. So you can kind of see the different fabrics. So that's King Kong. And I put this pattern up here because I thought you might find it interesting to see what the pattern looks like. So let me pull this down. So here's the Chrysler Building pattern. And then King Kong. You can see all the little tiny pieces in him. And I have them like numbered what value he is, or is it each fabric. So that's my King Kong. And so I asked you in one of my videos for some ideas of new black and white monsters to make. And you came through. I had the suggestion of Godzilla and Phantom of the Opera. So here is so far that I've got my pattern for Godzilla. I don't know if you can see it. So I'm working on getting that pattern together. And then I'll show you what my printer's doing. So when it prints, it's not printing all of the colors that I want it to. And so it's making it a little bit hard. And then my Phantom of the Opera, this you can probably see a little bit better. Here's my Phantom of the Opera. But it's not printing. He's going to have 6 different shades of fabrics. But if you look closely on his face, it's not printing the first 3 shades. So I'm having to fill them in myself. So I think that'll be, I'm hoping, will turn out good. So now I got to figure out, do I want to do Phantom of the Opera? Or do I want to do Godzilla? I think Godzilla, once I figure out all his scales, will be easy. He'll be a lot easier than him. He's got a lot of pieces in his face. But I'm kind of wanting to do him first. So I think I'm going to do the Phantom of the Opera first. So those are my updates on what I've done. So hopefully the next update I'll have fabric cut out and starting to fuse together on him. Oh, and the fabrics I've chosen. I'm thinking these. So I go from light to darker. And I can't decide if I want that fabric here, or these two. Because I don't have much left of these two, and so I can use them up in this quilt. So, I don't know. Decisions. Gotta make them before I fuse. So, those are my updates. So, I'm happy. I love doing the portrait quilts. It's therapeutic to do. So, hopefully I'll have some more updates and you can start seeing a face. I think I'll do his face first. And if it turns out, then I'll continue with body. So I'll see you next time. Talk to you later. Stay safe. Bye for now.